welcome to another Low 5 episode. My name is Alex, and this month's show is going to be a little different as my co-host and little brother Luke is out on paternity leave. That's right, little bro and his wife Trish are proud parents of two wonderful twin boys, Arthur and Lewis, and I am one proud uncle. Incredibly happy for y'all, and I can't wait to get a controller in those little kids' hands. But in Luke's place, I have invited two of the homies, Isiah and Nick, to come on and talk about what the internet affectionately calls the cat game. It was great having those homies on to talk about Stray, but before we get into it, I did ask our social following if y'all played Stray and what you thought. Here are a few of your responses. So, Rick of Pixel Project Radio wrote in and said, as a lifelong cat lover and owner, they nailed the movements and mannerisms. Stray as a game, though, felt like it showed its entire hand up front. Pretty game, kitty game. It felt a little too on the rails for me to be super into it. Would love to mob my cat into it, though. Dave from Tales of the Backlog said, really enjoyed it, and thought it nailed all the cat mannerisms and ways cats get into mischief. Enjoyed the atmosphere a lot, too. We also had List Off Podcast write in, and they said, Stray was the reason I signed up for PS Plus Extra, and I'm not disappointed. It was an endearing experience that kept a brisk pace and didn't overstay its welcome. I was surprised at how much I came to care for the kitty cat protagonist, and the story was surprisingly poignant. Liv of Between Two Gamers wrote in and said, cute game. If you're expecting an exciting and impactful story, you'll be disappointed. If your goal is to be a menace to society as a cat, you'll love it. And then we also have Stew World Order from Stew World Order Productions. I put about 2 hours into it. I like the idea, but the puzzle-based games bore me pretty quickly. Getting Down in Wordy Podcast wrote in and said, I bought a cloud computing subscription and a controller just to play it because it seems so appealing, but I found all the fetch quests really tedious. I think I'm just not much of a gamer. Big Nick, the Big Nick J on Twitter said, yep, the download glitched after a while at the same point every time, but from when I played, I liked it. And then finally, Gaming Together Podcast wrote in and said, it is a cat. And you know what? You're right. It was a cat. Big thanks to all you who wrote in. Sorry if I wasn't able to get into this episode. I didn't give a huge window for those. But again, thank you for those who did write in. Stick around for a special guest during our Unsanctioned Sponsored spot later on in the episode. For all those who are bumming that they didn't get their monthly dose of the Low 5 Bros, Luke did join me over the phone for a little side question segment. So that's coming as well. Although the audio was not great because we did it over the phone. So apologies there. But nonetheless, it's a good talk. Without further ado, Stray. I've got a couple guest hosts with me today, the homies Isiah and Nick. What up, dudes?
Hello.
Welcome. Thanks for joining for the Stray Pod, little cat game.
Yeah,
Thanks for the invite.
Heck yeah.
Why don't you give the listeners a little rundown, just a little background, whatever you want to say about yourself. We'll start with Isiah.
Oh, God, not much to say. Fucking play video games. Like to try and think I'm good. I know I'm not.
Right on.
That's about it.
You got one of those big mouse pads?
Got one of those big giant mouse pad. You know, I like to. You know, a lot of neon lights. I heard the lights make you better. You know,
Dude, me too. Now I don't know if it makes me any better. I just like the vibe. I don't really even play first-person shooters that often, so I'm really only doing it for the LEDs.
I just like raging at video games. That's it.
Right on.
Real good at it.
Let's hear a little bit from you, Nick.
I'm a resident cat dude. I have quite the healthy collection of cat shirts myself, if I do say so. I also enjoy a game from time to time. I'm more of a casual, as my life tends to take up most of my time by drinking and partying and the really important stuff. Yeah. But yeah, more of a casual than anything now. PC Master Race all the way, baby.
Right on.
Same plus Switch.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
different.
so-
Switch is different.
So we all played this game on the PC then.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right on. I did a little bit on I did back and forth. I played on my PC and then the Steam Deck. It was a nice transition between the two.
How was it on the deck?
It was really nice, man. It's not quite as pretty, but it worked really. It was really smooth. It runs really well on there. It also has that gyro, which I'm a big fan of the gyro.
Right? Yeah.
So if you turn the deck a little bit, your point of view changes just slightly, and Yeah, it was kind of fun.
That's pretty cool.
Got into the whole vibe of being a cat on, while laying in bed.
Yeah, for sure. Not to segue, but so with the new Cyberpunk DLC and like patch that just came out, if you get the vibrator, it actually vibrates in your hand.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, that's fucking
like the sexual
dope.
vibrator.
Yeah, bro.
I need to get my hands on a deck.
I'm not even lying, man. That's like, they included that in the patch.
Oh, that's wild.
Right?
That's wild. Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for the little intro, boys. One of the reasons that I wanted to do the Stray pod with the two of you is, one, I know you're a couple of cool homies that love the video games, but also we are in your kitchen right now, so we brought the studio mobile, and we're surrounded by cats.
Three little asshole cats just roaming right now, pissed that all this stuff is happening.
And I took my Allegra this morning, so I'm ready to go for at least a little bit.
Yes.
I always try and bring a little bit of something to the studio, a little physical piece, so it's fun having some real cats walking around while we do the Stray pod. So Stray is a 2022 adventure video game developed by Blue 12 Studio, which is a little indie joint. A lot of anticipation around this title. I know that it broke some Steam records when it first came out. It's also on PlayStation Plus, I believe. So a lot of people have been playing this game, and it's a cool one. Tell me a little bit, guys, about what you knew about this game into the lead up prior to launch.
I tried to stay as out of the loop of it as possible. I wanted to go into it completely freaking blind, which was hard with how big of a launch it was.
Oh, man,
and
no.
everyone and their mother was playing it. Like,
Right.
oh my god, have you done it yet? Like,
All of our people were on it.
Yeah,
Like, right out of the gates, too.
Yep. I did my best to avoid spoilers as well, and I also did my best not to look up anything while I did this playthrough. How about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a pretty straightforward puzzle game. There was one instance, though, like, right away in the beginning when you get the little drone. I'm like, okay,
B12.
Yeah, I'm clearly not doing something right because I can't find the fucker. So I had to, like, reload a prior save and go back and, like, oh, okay, now just follow him where he's going in the room. Oh, yeah, well, that's so novel. Yeah, I didn't have to look up anything. The puzzles, like I said, were pretty straightforward. For me, it was more of like it had a lot of really good pillow shots.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked up like what kind of chivos you can get, and there's one if you like take a nap for like an hour as a cat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like I found this cool spot to take a nap, and I just like walked away from my PC and like made a sandwich and some shit.
That's great.
Like, smoked a couple cigarettes, came back, and like it's doing this cool camera rotation. Like, oh yeah,
The nap spots that you can do, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Like, you're in a bookshelf, like you're on top of a freaking cliff overlooking a waterfall. Like, there's a million different ones.
I love too how the camera will pan out a little bit, slowly pan out, and it gives you kind of a cool view of whatever
for sure.
wherever your nap spot is.
That's my favorite part about this game by a mile, is easily like the ambiance, the sound design, like the soundtrack itself, even of when you're just walking around, sitting somewhere, scratching on a post, like rubbing on someone's legs, the music to it, and the angles, the shots, everything was so nice.
I thought so too. I definitely was impressed by the soundtrack, and I thought that it really led to the immersion of this game. The weird part, though, is you could go up to like a stereo or whatever, and you can change the song or whatever track is playing, which I was like,
turn on the radio more or less.
Right. But I also thought it was weird because it'd be hitting just the right vibe, and then it's like, okay, I'll change the radio station. Then it's like nothing. It's like, granted, I changed the station, but nonetheless, I was like, well, that switched the vibe a little bit. Nick, you brought up it's a straightforward puzzler platformer, right?
Yeah.
How'd you guys feel about that? I didn't know anything about this game other than it was a cat game. I guess I probably knew that it was going to be a platformer. How did you guys like that experience? Did you think it worked well as a platformer?
Yeah, I think it did. I think it was actually a little more approachable than having to be like this really in-depth, just like hardcore puzzle grind, which it can lose me from time to time. Like I said, I'm pretty casual nowadays.
Sure.
So like I was looking forward to having something like easy enough for me just to like sit down, crack out on it, and just like bust through and have a good time with it. Right. So like no like real spoilers or anything like that from my people, other than the fact that it was short. You know?
Right on.
It is a short game.
Yeah.
Do you guys play in one sitting, or how did you play through?
Ripped right through it, bud.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. I remember waking up one day and this dude started playing, and I came back from doing something and he was just finishing, and I was like going in the living room. Oh, I gotta get out of here. I see things I don't know. I gotta leave.
Oh yeah.
I did it in 3 play sessions, more or less.
Okay.
I did one, took like a day break, got basically to the end, and then I wanted to finish the podcast, or I wanted to finish the game right before we did the podcast, so I could be fresh and excited on it, if you will.
I saw you on that Steam last night, bro.
Yeah. Hey, you were too.
No, that's true. I finished it last night as well. I did mine similar to you, Isaiah. I did mine in probably 4 or 5 different sessions, hour to 2 hour sessions. It took me just under 6 hours to beat the game. And I like doing it in small bites like that, but I will say that doing it that way made it so when I picked it back up, I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Right. What are the controls?
Yeah. Right. Unless you stopped at a chapter change, it was really hard to like, all right, what was I doing? Where was I at? Who am I following right now? And even just like pressing down on your D-pad to like B12 gives you a quote unquote hint.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you're supposed to go find this guy. Like,
do the thing, dummy.
Yeah. Where?
Those hints were helpful to me maybe once or twice, but otherwise I was like, come on, B12, like give me some more.
B12, you're supposed to be a scientist, G. Like, you're helping a scientist. Come on, like.
Because there's no, it's not like a huge map. Like the world in this game isn't huge. You are kind of, I mean, it's large, but you are contained to a certain area. But what I noticed doing those small bite gameplays, so I would come in and I would kind of forget what was going on in my environment, and it would take me a little bit of time to run around and figure out where everything was, where people were supposed to be. And I will say that I was yearning for a map, although I appreciate that there wasn't a map. But I was like, oh man, it'd be really nice to have a map right now.
Some type of like, all right, this is where you just were. I don't know how many times in the slums that when you're going between it was the blanket. The blanket is one of like the first big
fetch
challenges for me, because I was like, all right, you got to go to the laundry place to get the detergent to give to the guy, to give the blanket, to give to grandma, and I was like, where the like I just ran by this laundry detergent place, like where did it go? Like I'm so confused right now.
Yeah, that was a cool map. I like that because it had a really good cyberpunk aesthetic to it, and it was really pretty and it was fun to run around. The action in that game's cool. Like the parkour is like pretty pretty easy and pretty lighthearted. So like you can zip around real quick like and whatnot. It's intuitive is what I was trying to say.
Speaking of the parkour, I think my favorite thing about this game is that there's not a dedicated jump button. You can't just be walking around and jump. You have to be a cat.
Yeah.
A cat's not just going to walk down the road and randomly jump up. Right. You know, like you have to find a spot where the cat would, I'm going to jump on top of that refrigerator. And then you will, you know?
Yeah, I appreciated that too. It was like, sometimes it felt limiting, but at the same time, like the game was it gave just enough hints that there would be like, okay, so that looks like something I can jump on. So if I go up to it, and then it would give you a command prompt that says, oh, you can jump on this.
Yeah.
And that worked for me. I have talked to some other folks that have mentioned that they did feel, shout out to Rick of Pitchell Project Radio, but he mentioned that he loved this game, although he did feel like it played itself quite a bit.
I can 1,000,000% does.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And is that a problem for you guys, or what do you think about that?
No, not at all. Like it was a nice little package. It was a fun little romp. My biggest thing though is like replayability for myself is probably not going to happen anytime soon, but it would be nice to introduce a new player to it.
Sure, definitely. I agree with you that I'm not sure when I will pick this up again, although I did leave a lot of the memories behind, and the completionist in me is like, oh man, but all those memories, because it does this thing too where if you progress too far in the storyline, you can't go back to get those things.
There is a lot of places that no return, like you can't get half the achievements I know the big one is once you're out of the slums. There's like 10 memories in the slums that you can unlock.
Right.
I had like 4 of them, and I was like, where do I even go right now to get these memories?
And I feel like there's only 1 or 2. There's at 3 tops points in the game where they straight up tell you if you proceed, you're not going to be able to go back.
Yep.
And I feel like maybe I just missed it because I wasn't paying attention early on, but I do feel like there was a point earlier where I missed a few memories that I definitely could not go back to, and I was like, oh well. It's okay, Alex. Just continue. You
bummed me out. And like we said with the replay, it's like I don't want to now go back and just to find those memories. Like if I go back, I want to play through the whole game again, not just a Chivo hunt. But you wouldn't even be able to on that save file because you finished the game. You can't go back. You know, like.
You guys are longtime cat owners. Tell me about the animation in this game, because I've read a lot of cool things about how well that they've captured the essence of a cat.
It was effing sweet. Like when you get the cat harness for the first time, you just fall over.
Yeah, cat doesn't know what to do.
Like perfect. Like yes, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, that is 100% cat. And B12 is like, hey man, grow up. Like you'll get used to it. Like stop that. Knock that crap off. You're not hurt.
A lot of the meeting new people. The biggest one I think of like being the cat. I think it's when you're in the underground, like the sewers, and you just get that purple flashlight thing.
Right. Yeah.
All of those what are they called? Basically face eaters. I don't know what they are.
I can't remember what they're called either, actually.
Like,
but
yeah, face eater, crab heads,
The mites,
whatever, the mites.
Yeah.
All of those start rushing you, and then the cat like slowly arches its back up and starts hissing, and then like B12 comes in to save you, basically. You know,
Right.
but that's like the biggest. Oh yeah, just the backup, the hiss, the get the fuck away from me right now. Like,
Let's party.
I really loved how because you go around, you meet all these different characters, and how there's an option for a lot of them where you can just actually go and like rub up against their leg, and then there'll be like a little heart that shows up on their face screen. It's pretty cool.
the fake faces that they have. Oh, speaking of the robots, that's one of the other ones that I loved about this was they almost seemed human.
Right.
You could tell that they were all human based. Like robots showed emotion, which, as we all know, robots aren't supposed to show emotion. Seamus and his dad, like the doc, like when they hug and the hearts pop up, it's like, oh my god, that was like a touching moment of robots showing emotion.
Yeah, and it's cool because like there's a whole lot of like story that was kind of left unexplored. I'm not saying I had a rushed playthrough, but I was trying to like get through the game for the podcast and whatnot. So like they really didn't explain a whole lot about like the background of the world space you're participating in, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, like you're saying, the completionist in you and like the geek, and you're like, I want to know what the fuck is going on. Like, who are these guys, and like why are they robots, and like why am I a cat and they're robots, and that sort of thing.
It's almost build your own, so like finish your own story-esque of here's the outline of what's going on. How do you think this played out now? Like, how do you think they actually felt, or what actually happened?
Yeah. Were there always robots there, or like were they created? Like, were there actually humans at one point? Like,
right. Yeah, and some of those memories start to unfold a little bit of that story for you, but you're right. It leaves a certain amount to the imagination. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they ever explain why a cat's involved.
Yeah, right. It's just because they're awesome,
I mean, it's the name of the game. It's a stray cat. Right? You're just a stray cat,
I know that there's a lot of love on the internet, too, that it's just like, kind of a standard orange tabby. And, there's not, which is kind of cool, Yeah.
As I don't think the cat you play has a name, but everyone on the internet just calls it Orange, because orange cat.
Yep. No, I'm curious. So this game definitely does, I think, what they set out to do with it. Was it Blue 12 or something like that?
Blue 12 Studios, something like that.
So they're a small joint, and they basically, I feel like they delivered on what they set out to do. It is a smaller game, but I think that it hits everything that I wanted it to do for them. And I'm really interested to see, like, especially because this game has been received so well, like what they'll go on to do, like if they'll continue playing in this world or if it's just a one-off.
It's cool because it's a tight little package, like you're saying. Like, it's well executed. It delivered on all the notes that it wanted it to hit. So like it was a solid straight through, and like I can get through it in a sesh and not feel bad about myself. Like I can sit there for like 6 to 8 hours and just like grind and get through this game. And it wasn't even like a slog. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm a clumsy idiot, so I died plenty of times in this game.
My favorite achievement: die 9 times.
Yep. I definitely earned that one.
I saw that on Nick's Steam. It was like the 9 deaths, and I was like, "Ooh, I haven't died 9 times. Maybe I'll be able to."
I just got it last night finishing the game.
I am not very good at video games as well as I say. Like especially platformers. I'm just like, okay. So yeah, I got geeked quite a bit in that game.
I cheesed it a little. I found you could cheese it a little bit, especially in those quote unquote like combat sessions. So there's not a whole bunch of combat in this game, but you can die. The what do they call those, sentinels or whatever can come out and get you.
Yeah.
And so they shoot these like electric darts at the cat, and it's kind of a bummer. You're like,
dude,
shit.
like those things.
That should bum me out.
Yeah, well, they had my number, and I'm like, how the fuck? Like, God, every time.
Why are you shooting a cat?
Yeah,
right? It's a cat.
It's a cat. Like, yeah. Totally.
I did notice though, if you sprinted and you did some zigzagging, which I think like cats, I don't know. In my mind, anyways, I was like, if I was a cat, this is how I would run away from them. If you just sprint through those sessions, like,
honestly, spam B and sprint.
Yeah,
they ain't gonna get you. Like,
because what does B do? Is that the meow?
Oh well, I don't know what controller you play on. Right button for me was it's like getting the face crawlers off of you.
Yep.
So if I would just hold right trigger and spam that, they're never gonna hit you.
Totally.
Very cheesable.
Right.
But also gets difficult. A lot of the point of a lot of those when you're going through those, not stealth missions, but like when you're sprinting through and getting chased by all those, you almost feel at a point like there's only one way to go, and they give you like 6 different options.
Right.
So there was a couple of times where I died probably 3 or 4 times in the first 5 seconds of a chase sequence just because I didn't make the right turn. It's like, what the? I'm actually getting mad at this game right now. I don't want to get mad at this game. It's a cat.
Right? Oh man, the couple of times that I did get really frustrated with this game is the puzzles are not super tough. but they can be tricky, right?
They make you feel dumb. They make you feel dumb.
Because you didn't hit the right box in the right way.
Right, or you didn't find a certain item that
Correct.
it's like, Isaiah and I were talking about this not too long ago, but early on in the game, you're collecting a bunch of notebooks. And there's this one notebook that is inside of a box that you have to knock over.
Yeah.
And then it's, oh my gosh, I spent so much time.
But it's not even knocking over the box. You have to jump on a stack of boxes to jump to the other box to jump off of for this notebook to fall out.
I was so close to my internet breaking point where I was like, I'm just gonna fucking look it up. I just don't know.
That is one where I did look up and I was like, I know it's in this room. I know I have to do something. I didn't look specifically, I have to get to this box, but I did. There was 2 times that I did go to the internet. One was last night because I was getting really frustrated and I was like, I need to finish the game. It was at the what they call it, Ant World, where you're at that really long cylindrical
with the waterfall.
Yeah, with the waterfall.
Oh, yeah,
getting like, I think it was like one of the flowers. It was like a red flower or something you had to find. And I was like, I'm going through the whole thing. I know there's levels. Like there's probably one in each level.
Yeah.
I see red arrows pointing places. Like where the is this goddamn?
Totally.
Yeah. Funny thing about that notebook is like I am not a pro gamer by any means, but I accidentally came across it rather easily. Just happenstancely.
That's the perfect one. That's the perfect way for you to do that.
Yeah, because I'm just like doodle bopping around. I'm like, oh, a notebook, cool, dude. All right.
Oh, I got a notebook.
Look at
Nice.
that, yeah.
I'm gonna write into that.
Yeah, cool.
The only true gripe I have with this game is, okay, the dialogue is fine. I did enjoy the dialogue, but it drives me nuts in newer games when the dialogue repeats over and over.
Yeah.
Like if you go, because like I was saying, I get lost sometimes and I keep talking to the same people or the same robots and they would say the exact same thing to me. I'm like, oh, just please cycle through a little bit more.
Right.
Give me one other dialogue option.
Oddly-
Say something else.
Totally. But oddly, towards the end game, there was more of that.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it was like a time crunch thing and they just like wanted to get it out. Because, for instance, like if you talk to the DJs, there's this part where you go into this club,
Scratching.
and it's like kind of a fun scene, and there's some fun like platforming, puzzling going on in there too. But anyways, I talked to the DJ, and the DJ kept like doing different crowd pump up stuff, and I was like, all right, at least the DJ's got some lines.
Right.
Anything you guys did not like about this game?
Minor performance issues. I was wondering if it was just my rig. But obviously this is a PC port. It was ported from PlayStation to PC. So I never had any, like, everything looked great. I didn't have necessarily many frame issues, but my load times were atrocious.
Oh,
like,
really?
my load times were atrocious at times. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if that's just my personal hardware wise,
Interesting.
but yeah, like between Reddit and different reviews, I've heard, like Steam Deck especially had some major issues, and a lot of, like, the dude was running it on 3080 Ti, and he was struggling to hit like 40 frames.
Oh, wow, okay.
You know, I didn't get major issues. That was a little one for me. Like I said, PC port. I don't know. I had some things written down. I think that was like my only biggest issue.
Unresponsive controller times. Like,
okay, sure.
When you're platforming, it could be just a little wonky, but it's not anything you couldn't get over.
Nick, you mentioned earlier about it really hitting that cyberpunk world quite nicely. I know you are a big cyberpunk fan, like not just the game Cyberpunk, but beyond that, the whole idea of cyberpunk.
Right.
So speak a little bit to that, man. How do you think Stray hit that?
It really worked. So I really dug on the aesthetic just because I like that kind of like gritty night city kind of feel. And like you never see the sun until the end of the game, which is, spoiler, sorry guys.
Well, that's what the game's all about.
Yeah, that's the whole game is getting to the
right.
sun.
Yeah, like that's where you kind of start the game. You're already outdoors, and then you get stuck in this like dystopian cyberpunk kind of esque world filled with robots and stuff. So I mean, the art direction is awesome, and I really liked how these robots are just kind of going about their daily life, and they're living in this world that is just kind of like shitty, and it's pretty cool. It's great, and like I love that aesthetic. Like I love the neon signs, like pictures for like noodles and stuff, and like the DJs, playing techno music, and like the kids are hanging out in the courtyard, bumping on a jukebox, and like that was pretty cool, man. I like that. I feel it worked,
The cyberpunk-esque of it, I love cyberpunk, love the whole aesthetic and shtick of it, but I really liked how this almost felt post-apocalyptic cyberpunk. Not necessarily just true cyberpunk of like technology everywhere, humans, this whole thing. This felt very... Another spoiler alert, the one after the plague happened, and it's just the robots left, and they've been there's like one hint in it that the dude says, or the robot says, tomorrow's my like 734th birthday, or whatever it says. So like, you already know this has been a long time that this has been going on. Very post-apocalyptic, almost you can tell something really bad happened here.
Totally.
And there's still technology, but it's not around like it should be.
I think it's funny. So this game, it's 2022 right now in the real world, right?
Real world.
And you brought up the fact, and this is something that like gets rolled out in the story, but there's some sort of like, oh, we got some cat action.
Sorry if you heard that in the background. Cats are going to the bathroom. Like I said, the ambiance, there you go.
It's a true straight podcast.
Go on.
So there's some sort of, I don't know, like you mentioned, there's some sort of like disease or plague thing that happens in this world or way earlier in the storyline. Like not even the story. We were just
hundreds of years before
this is just part of what's happening or whatever. And that shit hits different in today's world with like
I think it
COVID
was almost
and
it had to
everything.
be intentional.
I wonder. I mean, there's that, but there's a handful of other games that just like have this whole plague concept that it's like, oh man, playing today's world. I'm like, shit.
I think we just kind of played through this in real life. Like I don't know, like we're where we're at with riots and fucking coronavirus, and like,
Totally. But it is cool, and I think that on top of that cyberpunk theme, I think these robots that you meet in this game, they all have their own very distinct personalities, which
Yes.
I really enjoyed.
Yes.
So the same with like they show emotion. Like you feel like that's not just a robot. That's a robot. That's a robot. Like that's what was it like Zeltabar? There's Clementine. Clementine is one of my favorite characters in a video game now.
That
and
was,
it's a robot.
So Clementine's a cool character, I agree, but that robot was also another pain point for me because you have to go find her again. And I was like, well, where the fuck is she?
Wait, I get back home or get back to her house and it's all of a sudden blocked off and there's cops everywhere? Great. Sorry, I'm sentinels.
And the only
peacekeepers, if you will.
And the only cue you get is go find Clementine. It's like, well,
Okay,
but
thank
where?
you. Yeah.
What do you mean? There's a lot of area to explore here. And I don't exactly remember what she looks like.
I'll admit, yeah, right. That was another thing. It was like, oh man, but who is Clementine? Like, I need a little like compendium that had like pictures of all the people I met or something.
Which I guess, now that I think about it, now that you say that, after you meet Balthazar, I think it's Zanzibar, Balthazar, whatever his name was, he gives you the postcard of Clementine. And it has her address on the back. I just thought about this now when you said that. I was like, God, I can't remember what Clementine looked like. I guess I could have gone to my items and looked at that postcard.
I feel like I'm gonna give that to somebody though, don't you?
Do you give it to someone?
It fell out of my items at the end because at the end I only had the battery and like a key or something.
Yeah, after right at the end when you lose B12 for the 7th time, whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't want to say your inventory cycles in between maps.
Is that what it does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 'cause, I had some soda pops or something.
Oh, and the sheet music and all that.
Yep. So,
Which I know I did look this up afterwards. Like all that sheet music that you can find, there's that barter trader guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the 3 different sodas. There's like 8 sheet musics you can get.
Yep.
And they all give you different. I think it's just Chivo hunting at that point. Like
Totally.
it's just
100%,
Chivo hunting, but
because like each one opens up like a little MIDI file and he sings you a song and whatnot, and that's kind of cool. But like, it was totally Chivo hunting, and I think I missed an opportunity to actually complete that one.
I did too because I didn't.
totally did.
I was short a soda or something.
Yeah.
No, see, I think I only had one
Something silly,
soda, and I had
yeah.
like 7 out of 8 sheet music, and I was
Right.
like, I am not gonna be able to find
Yeah.
one soda or 2 sodas and a sheet music.
Yeah, and
like,
there's also that piece of art you could barter for, and I'm like, I wonder what that does. It's probably like a memory or some shit. So.
Totally. Because you can interact with the vending machines, pop out like a pop can, sub can, whatever. Yeah, but I didn't realize that they were important until like maybe like a chapter or 2 later, and I was like, oh man, I guess I should have collected all the sodas.
Right? Yeah. Like I said, a missed opportunity, but like
hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
But that does lend a little bit to its replayability, I suppose.
For sure. If you're going for 100%, I would love to see a 100% speed run of this game, see how long it takes.
That was one thing, man. I was
probably about 2 hours. I want to say that like there's a Chivo if you like
I don't know.
get it under 2, I think.
it could be, yeah.
I want to see a speedrunner break this game in 45 minutes, 100%.
There's got to be
I'm
some.
going to start working on it.
There you go.
If you look back at your experience playing Stray, what would you say was the favorite thing about the game?
Mine's got to be when you first get that harness on. You just follow her. It's like,
Yeah.
done. We're done here.
Mine, again, spoiler alert, the very end, once you open up the sun for everyone, you slowly start panning back as Orange is like kind of looking back at you. And then it's the slow blink when it's like the final scene before it goes to black. There's just this slow blink, which if you have cats, it means thank you.
Oh,
so it's
interesting.
The cat's looking at you saying thank you, and then as it starts going black, you hear the meows.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily get reunited with your little friends at the end, but you hear them.
Totally.
So it's like, oh, is this Stray 2 coming along? Like, ooh, am I going to go find my friends? Like,
I would say overall the graphics in this game are pretty good, but the cutscene stuff was beautiful.
Oh, like, the cutscenes were amazing.
Super good.
I would 100% recommend this game. Like I said, it's quick. You could really, if you sat down, not 100% completionist grinding, which you should try and explore everything in this game. I will say that right away. Explore everything you can in this game, 1,000,000%. You could, like I said, one session, 5-6 hours. I think average playthrough of this game is probably 5.5, 6 hours, something like that.
That sounds about right.
I think I hit like maybe 7. I don't even think I hit 8. Like I said, I was grinding at the end though, just trying to get done.
I hit 8 just for that one Chivo where I just took a nap for an hour.
Oh yeah, that's right. Nick, would you recommend this game to someone?
Heck yeah, especially like a newbie gamer. Like it's really approachable, and if you're like a cat fan, you're gonna love it just because of the aesthetic. It's a great game for people of all ages, and
even if you're not a cat fan,
and like
you will become a cat fan.
It's one of those rare games that it is good for all ages, and it's really accessible, and it's solid.
I tend to agree.
7 out of 10.
I tend to agree with you guys. I think it costs $30 brand new. I imagine after a few months this will probably hit some sales.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think I've already seen on Steam sale for like $20.
Right on. And I would say, like,
it's like I said, yeah, they're a indie developer. They're not going to make this game $60. They know it's not a $60. It is not a $60 game. I don't even personally think it's a $30 game. I'd be happy to spend $20 on this.
But like throwing down full price on that helps out the devs.
Oh, really? That's why I bought it for us the day it dropped. Like I bought him and I right away.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Isaiah actually picked up the game for me, which was like
you gotta play this. Dude. It's like, Cyberpunk. It's Cat. Yeah. Here you go.
Like I was stoked.
No, totally. And I do think that, when you're playing a slight premium for an indie developer like that, I don't mind.
I feel very okay with doing that.
And, I would just echo a little bit of what you guys were saying. I would definitely recommend this game to just about anybody that, just wants an experience, really. But kind of like what Isaiah was saying, really go into it being ready to explore and play. I think that, we didn't, I don't think any of us like really grinded through it super hard, like for the pod, but I do think
like I said, the last hour maybe, which even at the end, that last hour, that's really all you can do is grind through it.
And I think it's one of those things like whenever you give yourself a deadline though, you're not allowing yourself to really explore as much as maybe this game allows you to. So that is one thing. I do think that if you really want to like fully encapsulate this game, like go in, explore, like check everything out, and don't rush through it.
Yeah. And like I said, also, try and not like I said, don't rush through it, but don't take long breaks like Stallman and I did before. Like in between, like even a couple of day break, you're gonna be like, wait a second, what's going on right now?
I do think the story is going to be a lot more impactful if you play it in a bigger chunk like Nick did.
Yeah,
because you're going to get it. You're going to get it all at once. Cool, dudes. Well, thanks for doing this with me. The last thing that I want to do is get a little bit about what your side quests are. What are some other games you've been playing other than Stray lately?
I don't want to talk about it. I just rage. I love playing online video games and beating up on children. It's League of Legends has been my life for 12 years, so I always go back to that and hate my life. Escape from Tarkov, don't play it, don't buy it, don't support them. I have like 1,000 hours in it, and I'm going to put 1,000 more in it. Don't play it. Nothing really too single player right now, though.
Playing a little multiverses too, haven't you?
Okay, that's different. I have hosted Smash tournaments. Oh yeah, I probably could have brought that up with me. I'm a fucking Smasher, man. I hosted tournaments for years. I love tournaments. Love playing Smash Brothers. Love beating up on Super Smash Brothers Melee for the Nintendo GameCube, a 21-year-old party game for children. If you guys haven't played it, play it. Slippy.gg. Look it up. Just play. Trust me.
Right on. How about you, Nick? What else have you been playing?
I've been grinding on 76 quite a bit lately and whatnot. And like, I hate playing with other people online, but it's actually a pretty good community just due to the fact it's so effing small. So it's really rare, like running across other players and whatnot. And my buddy has a dedicated server. So
cool.
Yeah, it's totally dope. I really enjoy that. And then I got an old one I've been working on. I played it back in the day. This game's 18 years old, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so I'm going through as the one vampire clan I never played before, so yeah.
Nice.
Kind of grinding on that right now. It's pretty cool.
I've always got a few things on the burner, but I just finished Marvel's Spider-Man, the remaster for the PC.
Little crying boy.
I did a little crying at the end of that game.
Yeah, that's my guy.
I'll leave any major spoilers out to anybody that does not familiar with the Spider-Man story. But there's just something that got me at the end of that. And the cutscenes in that game are also top notch. Like, oh my God. So good. And just, zipping around the city as Spider-Man is pretty satisfying.
Right.
Well, cool. That's another episode of Low 5 Gaming. Thanks again, boys, for coming in off the bench while Luke's on his paternity leave.
Oh, I'm a dad now. I'm so cool.
This has been a lot of fun. Fun to play Stray. Fun to talk about it with you guys, and look forward to having you back one of these days.
Heck yeah.
Heck yes.
We got to get Nick out on his date.
Yeah. Hey. Later, dudes.
Take it easy, boys.
Yep.
This month, our unsanctioned sponsor is nurses. And I have a special guest this month as well, who is, in fact, a nurse. My wife, Anna. Hey, Anna.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for making a little guest appearance on the pod. I wanted to bring you on and say, one, you're wonderful.
Oh.
For more reasons than the fact that you're a nurse, but nurses are wonderful as well. And as many people may have heard in the news, there's a big strike happening in Minnesota. The MNA is on a strike.
There sure is until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, but we have been since 7 a.m. on Monday morning.
Right, so it's a 3-day strike, and it is the biggest. Is it the biggest strike that's ever happened for?
It is the largest nurses union strike. So yes, right. The largest nursing strike. There's about 15,000 plus nurses right now on strike.
Wild.
Which is from, I think, about 14 different hospitals statewide.
Okay, very cool. And I know a lot of the chatter in the news, there's a lot of coverage on, why the strike might be happening, and one of the main reasons that gets thrown around there is pay. And I would not disagree, especially the last couple of years here, we've seen a lot of travel nurses come in and hospitals spending a lot of money to pay for those travel nurses, right? Although we maybe haven't seen a bump in pay for those that have stuck around at the hospitals, etc. But in my opinion, and what I've also seen, is that's maybe not the main reason that nurses are striking right now. What are a couple of the reasons that the MNA is on strike?
So the biggest reason behind this strike is safe staffing and patient safety. Nurses' strikes are never about money. They're never about personal gain. They are always about our patients and keeping our patients safe and ensuring that the hospital has the best possible health outcomes for our patients, because we care deeply about our patients, and we didn't go into this profession for money. We went into it to save lives and to care for others and to give empathetically to others in the community around us.
Very cool. One of the things, one of the buzzwords, if you will, that I've seen around this is safe staffing. So what is safe staffing?
Yeah, so safe staffing is ensuring that the patient load that myself or another nurse gets is at a safe level where we are able to tend to all of our patients in the way that they need to be tended to ensure that nothing goes wrong and to ensure that poor health outcomes do not occur. So that means that we don't have 4 patients that are all high acuity, which means high, like extremely sick or in their worst possible situation, which is kind of the situations that we're seeing right now. We have 4 patients and they're all as sick as can be. So when all of your patients are as sick as can be, if something goes wrong with one of them and you need to give more attention to that one patient, we need it to be our staffing to be at a rate where we are able to give that attention to that one patient and our other 3 patients are still safe. So that there would be another nurse nearby where I could say, hey, I need you to watch over my other 3 patients while I call this rapid. Or as when a call light or a bed alarm goes off, I'm able to get up and run to go to that patient immediately to make sure that they don't fall or something worse happens to them. Well, meanwhile, being able to ensure that my other patients are in safe conditions.
Right. And you're a night nurse, so the caseload of 4 would actually be 6.
Yes. At night we have 6. And yep. At night we have 6 on the med-surg floors. ICUs sometimes have 1 or sometimes they have 2 and sometimes they even have 3 these days, which is extremely unsafe, and that is what we are fighting against, because poor health outcomes such as falls, such as not getting a catheter out in time, and so that catheter causes an infection, just not even recognizing something happening to one of your patients because you're stuck in another patient's room and unable to get to that patient. And these things can happen when you do not have enough staff on your floors watching and helping out. So
Right. Well, I tell you what, Anna, I think you're wonderful. I think nurses are wonderful. Luke's going to give a little shout out to nurses in the next segment here in our side questing. But I just wanted to bring you on quickly just to talk a little bit about why it is. A lot of people maybe are hearing about the strike, and I just wanted you to come on and say hello and kind of tell me exactly what you just did. So thanks so much for that.
yeah, and also, nurses do deserve some more money. We're saving lives. So why people are so against us getting paid more, I don't really understand. But whatever.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I tell you what, hey, everybody, support your nurses. Give love to your nurses. If you're going to look into this, there's a lot to learn. And, really the bottom line, these nurses out here are working their hardest to make sure that you're safe and that you're all right.
So we're recording, right?
We are recording, yeah.
All right, happy birthday, Al. It's not your actual birthday, but by the time you publish this, it will be on your birthday. And what a nerd, publishing on his birthday. Did you pick this date because it would be your birthday so you could celebrate it publicly like a fucking diva? Because I'm pretty sure you did.
Nah, bro. But when I chose the 15th as our publishing date, I did know that one day we would be publishing on my birthday.
And did you also know that you'd be doing that shit by yourself?
Oh, I did not. What's that all about, bro?
So,
you on the master side quest over here.
Yeah, right. 2 preemies, 7 weeks early. Arthur Morgan. Low key, when we were playing Red Dead Redemption for the pod, I definitely knew that one of these babies was going to be named Arthur. So every time they're like, "Hey, Arthur," I was like, "Man, I can't." I wanted to talk about it on the pod so bad, but I couldn't.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
There you go. It's,
I didn't even
Arthur.
think about that when you told me the names, dude. But that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you thought of Grandpa Art, I'm sure, right away.
I did. I did
Flash
indeed.
the Aardvark. Shouts out to the homie. But yeah, no, Arthur Patrick and Lewis William, 2 homies, came a little. Labor Day, we take that shit seriously as hell. We were visiting a friend and their very, very young baby. The baby's about 5 weeks old at the time. And on the way home, Trisha was like, "Let's get some cheese curds and a Virgin Bloody Mary." And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Man, it's the last day of summer. Are you really not going to celebrate?" I was like, "That is manipulative," but it worked. So then I rerouted, and about 2 minutes later, her water broke. So we're all sitting in the hospital not eating cheese curds.
Oh, man. You put her under duress. You're like, "No cheese curds for you." And she was like, "Well, the babies are coming."
Well, dude, the babies were like, "Dude, bloodies and cheese curds, dog, that sounds fucking lit, dude." You were just holding another baby. They're all jealous, and then the cheese curds just took it to the next level. So, beautiful baby boys. We're in the NICU. Shouts out to the NICU unsanctioned sponsor. Should I separate or should I flow right into the unsanctioned sponsor?
Oh, you can hit it right now, bro.
Unsanctioned sponsor, dude. We're hitting it on multiple levels. We're just shouting out nurses. We're shouting out NICU nurses. We're shouting out fucking operations nurses. We're shouting out striking nurses. Your wife is a nurse, so, shouts out to the union. Shouts out to anyone that chooses to be a nurse. So there you go. God bless you. They've been very kind to me and my babies. And, yeah.
Very cool, man. And Trisha's doing well. Your wife's doing well.
She is. She's a champ. Superhero. I don't know, video game reference, endo, I don't know, she's a chosen one, whatever you want to call it. But, yeah, no, she's doing good. So,
very cool,
God bless
man.
her. Two little blessings. And yeah.
You gonna buy him some video games? You gonna get him to play some vids or what?
Dude, I have been thinking. I thought today because I knew we were gonna record, and I was like, what are the games that you'd try to introduce your kids to? And I was like, I'm wearing a Zelda shirt right now from Target because Target knows what's up, but not the official sponsor, but maybe someday. But is Zelda too obscure to introduce to children? Because
Ooh, yeah.
I think the reason we loved Ocarina of Time is because we did not have a bevy of choices. So the obscurity you just pushed through. You had the guides. You had older siblings. If I put it in front of my kids, would they just be like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I had to sing a song in front of a fish. What? That's stupid. So I'm like, I don't know. And I was thinking the classic Super Mario Bros. Just the original one might be a nice one because the whole just head right.
Yeah.
Do that first 2 levels until you fucking
I did hook my nephew up with the Game & Watch Mario anniversary deal with the regular Mario on there.
Oh, word?
And yeah, he played it for a couple of days. then I think he just lets the thing like lose its charge, and he's never picked it up again.
Fair enough. My nephew, one of my nephews on Trish's side, he loves Mario. Mario's like his absolute favorite, so I think it's a pretty solid one. The Nintendo universe is pretty tailor-made to hook you as a child and keep you on as an adult, so bought the babies, as I sent you a picture on the Discord, but I bought the babies some Star Wars bed sheets. We're definitely going to indoctrinate them best we can. I think I'm going to find like some Yoshi plushies or some dumb stuff like that. I'm definitely just going to lie a lot of that around. My buddy Ben, who just had a baby, friend of his sent him, I don't know what generation of Pokemon it is, so forgive me, but he sent him the 3 starters of that generation.
Oh, sure.
And then whatever the baby picks when it's old enough to make a choice, he's going to hide, not like necessarily hide, but he'll keep like the main one in his crib. Like, if you've seen those TikToks or internet videos, so yeah, you just got to find all the goofy ways. So I don't know, what else do you think? What else would you indoctrinate these here babies with?
Oh man, you mentioned that you got some Star Wars swag, right? So I want to know which movie you're gonna play first, or are you gonna start with the cartoon?
Oh man, when they're old enough to actually watch them, it's like 100% A New Hope. There's just no doubt about that. They can't be like, this is cheesy, because they'll be like fucking 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I will admit that like I was a little scaredy pants as a child. And, like, I didn't like to be on the floor of the house alone, and I went downstairs by myself. I don't know what time of day, but, like, no one else is there, and I was like, well, I want to watch Star Wars. And Mom's like, I'm not getting up, dog. And I went down there and braved the scary-ass house all by myself to watch Star Wars. So maybe that'll be the homies. They ain't got VHS, and they'll probably never function with a VHS, but, you know, we'll just have to listen to Dad's dinosaur tales about watching Star Wars on the VHS. They'll probably plug in the Disney Plus to watch it. But, you know, they'll have to brave those elements.
Dude, I had an old coworker that was getting rid of her VHS player, and I was like, let me get it for real so I can watch my old Star Wars VHS tapes. And she was like, for sure.
It's deteriorating though, dog. So, like,
oh, dang.
By the time these boys are old enough to even operate one, I don't know. Like, because even as a kid, like, half our VHS didn't work. When I was born in 92. So,
yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. I think Kirby is a solid option. Kirby's cute as heck. And pretty simple gameplay, and that'll get them hooked.
Kirby makes sense. They also just dropped news today about a new old Kirby. Oh man,
probably like $60, and I was like, "What a lame!
It is.
What a lame direct, dude."
Dude, I was looking at the digital store or whatever afterwards. It's definitely $60. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
I'm like listening to it. That's messed up, but like maybe we'll see what mood of it.
Thing is it has just enough added, so that's a Wii game, right? The Return to Dreamland. But they've added just enough stuff where I'm like, well, I guess now I gotta play it on the Switch.
I think I'll think about it, dog. It's like I thought I was gonna buy the Super Strikers when it came out, and I was like, I'm not gonna play this game. So like, yeah, you know, it's pretty whack direct. You don't even need to address it unless you love titty JRPGs.
That 64 lineup though is pretty minty.
Yeah, but I'm an Xbox boy, as the listener.
Get out.
You know, been anti-Xbox my whole life, but whatever. You know, we switching things up, and Rare is owned by Xbox now, so they are releasing a remasters of the game for Game Pass pretty soon.
I saw that. It was pretty petty. They dropped it like right as Nintendo dropped their news. It was pretty funny.
You know what's really funny is that Rare is making like the better version of it, but Nintendo owns the rights for some silly reason to like the online play.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I think it was a Kotaku writer had a nice little quote about how like, man, I'm butchering it, but something's about splitting the baby up. It was kind of funny. Like they could have just combined this, but both of them get like one good half of the equation, so it's just whatever. But we'll see.
So Xbox will have like the remastered graphics, which are still shit, but but it'll just like a little smoother,
better frame
HD
rate,
or whatever.
The dual stick aim, which is actually super crucial, because like one of those classic, like you go back and actually play these old games you love, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I fire up the Bull 7 from time to time, dude. It's a little clunky.
What do you mean a little clunky? You have to hit like the 3-pronged controller because whoever had 3 hands, I never understood that design. And then you have to hit R to aim, so you have to stop moving, and it is wild.
It is a little wild, but it worked well for the time, dude. It worked well for the time.
Did it, or was it just like a lit game?
Nah, dude, it did for sure. A little bit of both,
so
I would say.
Despite its limitations that it pushed through. But yeah, that was pretty groovy, I guess. And then I don't know, what were the other? Oh, all the Mario parties. That's actually cool because
Mario parties, 1, 2, and 3, 1080. Dude, 1080's fucking dope.
Oh, dude, 1080. I'm gonna play that for a few days for some pure nostalgia.
It's gonna straight up kill people. Anybody that got a 64 controller for their Switch, like the NSO one, Nintendo better start ramping up production of those fucking controllers, dude, because so many of them are gonna be destroyed with people trying to get 1080s.
Oh no, not even for that, dude. Mario Party, we used to literally wear like batting gloves, like Franklin batting gloves to play Mario Party like games, because all the games were just like twist this thing. We would get blisters, dude. It was so nerdy, but like it was also the early 2000s, late 90s. That's what we had to do. So we were just grinding on those controllers, and we'd take our little batting gloves, and that would help you prevent some blisters. It was pretty fire. Shout out to Ace. He knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, well, other than that, man, we got what? We got the Zelda news, but we all knew that was coming. I was a little surprised that it was actually pushed out till what, June, or not June, but May. Yeah.
It's not even Zelda news, dog. It's just a name. The name and like 14 more seconds of gameplay footage. I'm like, tight. I get to jump on a giant stone glider that looks alright.
That was due what? It was due at the end of, it was due like last holiday season?
It was due this holiday, I want to say. I mean, I'm all for games being delayed because like we absolutely crush when games are buggy and crappy, and even like Mario Golf or Mario Super Strikers right now, like a second free DLC wave. I'm like, no, it's the second third of the game you didn't release. Like, don't lie to us.
Yeah, no joke.
So if the game is important as Breath of the Wild 2, take your time. But also mad respect to the folk making Majora's Mask back then. They pumped that out under a year, so.
You know what's funny in that direct, dude? When they did the announcement for GoldenEye, when they're like, oh yeah, we should probably tell you about this game. The recorded screenshot or record is of their NSO or whatever, and the profile in their NSO was totally Samus's, like the Metroid Samus, like, electric thing, like the lightning bolt.
Oh, word.
Like, that was the logo, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but that was such a tease, how they're just, not giving us any, dude, no Metroid, like, no update on Prime.
Nintendo is going to do this, Nintendo is going to do that for the Direct, and then it comes out, and it's like, hey, here's 5 titles you don't want. I'm like, damn it.
Man, what else would I indoctrinate the boys with? I don't know, man. I think that you got to do. I think Mario's a good one to start with. Probably like Mario Party or something like that would be pretty fun. But it's got to be. I think Kirby, dude. Kirby and Mario. You got to do those two. But outside of video games, I don't know, man. Give them a baseball glove, maybe a basketball.
I mean, no doubt they'll be forced to. You know, they're raised in a split household, a divided household with the Packer Vikings.
Ooh, Skull Vikings, dude. Took that game 1.
Yeah, right. No, it was real nice. So,
like, people hit me up on Instagram, bro. Like, people that follow Low5 being like, fuck the Packers. I was like, this is great. People know that we're from Minnesota, and they also know the Packers suck.
Oh, Lord. Hey, man, you should be nice, though. Packer fans travel better than anyone, so you gotta get them numbers up, dog. It's my life dream for one of them to be drafted by the Bears, because that would be the funniest thing when you see those families at the draft day tables, and it's just like,
everybody's like, what?
Fans sitting at a table and they just got drafted by the Bears. That shit would be hilarious. That's my real thing.
That would be cool.
Sports games are pretty easy for indoctrination. That's for sure.
Yep.
Gotta love those. So, we'll see. And then you just gotta let them play whatever gross Fortnite of their time is gonna be, and whatever I think is lame, but I have to accept that,
What are you going to do when your boys start beating you in the show, dude?
It never happened, dog.
Dude, it's going to happen.
It'll never happen. I'll own the 2K title of this household. I'll own the Madden title. Alex held all these titles for a brief period of time and then slowly lost all of them in pathetic manner.
Dude, I've been gunning for you. Those little babies, I haven't even talked to them yet, but I know. They're like...
The only title Alex holds is old fighter game from the 90s. So, like, Mortal Kombat, he'll wreck me, or, like, Street Fighter, he'll wreck me. Those are the only titles you still own, and you can have them. That's like,
dude,
it's like having a season pass.
I will mess you up in a good beat 'em up.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we'll see what, games change too, but I'll keep playing. Probably less because, being a father and whatnot, but...
You have to get you a Steam Deck, bro. Handheld Nation.
Well, nice transition. Some Nicky games of the week here. Slay the Spire, dude. Lit. Great time.
Oh, yeah.
You have to constantly put your thing down or not pay attention to your Switch for 5 minutes and then get back to playing addicting gameplay. Great time. Slay the Spire.
Slay.
It's been great. Slay the Spire, dude. It's been great. Great time.
Yo.
Give it a shot. I know you played like 4 minutes of it.
I know. I need to pick it back up. We'll see.
Give it some more runs.
It was all right. Like I didn't hate it. I just didn't encapsulate me. But I haven't had twin babies, so maybe if I had twin babies, I'll play more Slay.
No, it's because it's like you have 50 games that you play at once, so it'd be hard to let it hook you. So you just gotta play a few more runs. Maybe when you're watching Jersey Shore Wives or Vanderpump Rules or whatever it is that you watch with your wife. And then
dude, none of that shit anymore. We watched Summer House. We watched Winter House.
I'm outdated on my trashy TV. I'm outdated on my references, but you get the point. I know you ain't fully invested, so you might as well pull up some Slay on the side and listen to the drama. So you ain't gotta watch any of that. You just gotta listen to it, and that's why Slay is fire.
Yo, I beat Spider-Man Remastered, bro.
Great time. The swinging.
Oh man.
Go to the Ringer and look up Spider-Man. Oh man, they probably wrote about the movie a lot. Ben Lindbergh, good video game writer when he's not writing about baseball, did a good deep dive on the mechanics of the swinging in that game. Ooh-wee. The swinging in Spider-Man is so liberating.
It's pretty cool, dude. The physics of it are awesome. And the combat in the game is pretty fun too. There's a lot of good combos and stuff. Did I cry? Yeah, I teared up and cried a little bit at the end, dude. I'm not gonna drop any spoilers on the pod, but I tell you what.
It was a tear. I don't think I've ever had a more powerful video game moment. I mean, I'm not into The Last of Us. Some people might argue that maybe is a little bit more of an emotional pull at times, but like.
Oh yeah, have you played that game or no?
Like games that just didn't work for us, even though we know they're classics. That's like my number one. I've tried to play it literally 3 times.
The Last of Us? Oh, word.
I love Naughty Dog games too. Like I played all the Uncharted games except for maybe some of the side content, but I can't do The Last of Us. And I have friends that barely play video games that love that game, so I'm like, damn.
Sure. Yeah, the thing about Spider-Man Remastered though, dude, is now I gotta wait for Miles Morales. I'm like, I want it now. It'll come to PC. It's not out yet, but they said it's coming.
So the biggest punch to my face of finally jumping off the PlayStation bandwagon and being an Xbox boy is that I can't.
Miles.
I don't get Spider-Man 2, which is coming out. It's going to be. Yeah, no, I can play Miles on the 4. The next in the Spider-Man entry is coming out on the PlayStation 5, and then even worse, dude, is that the same developers are making a Wolverine game.
Oh yeah, that'll be cool.
Like my wife was like, you can buy this Xbox, but like, are you sure you're not settling? That's the only reason I'm not a huge fan of you buying this Xbox right now. And I had to like pray. I had to have a nice moment with God. And I was like, am I an Xbox boy? Because that's been the antithesis of my existence my whole life. And that Wolverine game is sitting right there. Like God of War, like super fire game. I could play it on the 4. I don't know, man. I like
on PC now too.
God of War.
It seems like PlayStation's going to keep bringing more of these to PC. Why wouldn't they? They make that money.
Yeah, but my game on laptop isn't like. It's nice, but it's not like PS5, Xbox Series X or S range. So like games like that would feel inferior. Whereas the new God of War I could play on the 4, so I'm just going to see if anybody buys a physical, and then I might play it.
My next step in my game PC is to get a third monitor, do that triple monitor station, dude.
Third monitor, dog.
Yes, sir. Gonna get a triple mounted.
Just like your content. One's just your inventory management.
No way, man. I'm talking about using all 3 screens for the environment. Like, so when I'm playing Spider-Man, I got New York on both sides of me, and then in the middle as well. I can't wait. Witcher, when that drops this update, I'll be playing The Witcher in like fully immersive 3-screen land. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, aren't they doing a reskin or a res up for the new Witcher 3?
They are. They announced that, but I don't know what the timeline is, but it's supposed to be coming. That's kind of, I have not finished the DLC for that game, so I've been waiting for that remaster or whatever, and then I'll fire it up.
Just like it's a full $60, and I'm sure what it'll be for me, and I'll be like, I don't remember enough of the original, like playing through it, where it would probably be worth it if it's gorgeous enough. So we shall see. You know what was more rewarding than the Nintendo Direct for me though was the Ubisoft Forward event. They're just going all Assassin's Creed games. Just all ass Creed, dog. I'm loving it.
Dude, Assassin's Creed is its own franchise. I mean, it's always its own franchise, but it's like its own beast now. It might as well not even be Ubisoft. They just might as well break off and be like, we are just Assassin's Creed, and that's all we ever do.
Basically what they're doing. They're like, listen.
Was it 4 or 6 games? How many games did they announce? 4?
Well, I think the Untitled Banter podcast put a nice, they put it in a nice way where it's almost like when Marvel is like, this is our next phase.
Yeah, sure.
Which we'll be seeing from our next batch of movies, because like Mirage is basically, which I love, dude. It's Middle East, it's Baghdad. It's more of the stealth action gameplay from the original games that I was super into. So like, I'm super into that, and it's also a smaller experience, so I'm into all of that. But that's coming out like soon. But then in like a year, the next like big game is it Japan? Yeah.
Yeah, they got Japan. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then 2 years after that is the next big game, and that's Hex, and that's like witchcraft and stuff. And I heard it might be in Germany, so like
that's kind of cool.
That's kind of an interesting slant as well. Dude, these historical murder sims, I can't get enough. And like, I was reading an article about how they're getting rid of that silly overworld modern day storyline stuff. Get rid of all that. I don't care about any of that.
I know, that's what, whenever I'm playing any Assassin's Creed game, when they jump back into like modern times, I'm like, oh, why do we gotta even do this?
Dude, the author was bemoaning it, and I was like, dog, since the original game, I hated this shit.
It's like not that interesting. It doesn't matter to me at all. Like, I just want to be
immediately. Yeah. It was like cool for like an excuse as to why this was happening, but like after, I just kind of love that just like, listen, man, we're just giving you historical murder porn. Like, just do it, dog. And I'm like, I'm here for it. Just give me breathtaking environments, vaguely accurate historical figures and buildings, and I'm here for it. And then there's a mobile game based in China, and I was like, oh my god, this is such a sick setting. And then they're like, come in mobile, Assassin's Creed Jade. And I'm like, tight, waste of all of your resources, but whatever.
Well, no, I'm so tired of mobile gaming.
Well, maybe because I got Xbox Game Pass, I'll buy one of those hideous-looking controllers that click to your phones.
I have one. You can borrow it. I don't have a newer one, but I have one that works. Dude, it is tight. It's great for some games. It's not nearly as comfortable as holding a Switch or a Steam Deck or something. There's something weird about having the controller and the phone hovering on top of it. Yeah. Well, word, dude. But this isn't a news podcast, man, so we're going to cut this shit.
Yeah, do you want me to talk more about Slay the Spire then? Because I put it down and I'm playing Civ 6 now. Because
ooh boy,
on my Switch, Civ 6 wasn't enough.
There's a Humble Bundle right now. There's a Humble, like 2K's got 2K's Humble Bundle. Oh, dude, I almost bought it, but I have like half the games already. It's still a good deal, but I was like, but I'd be able to do Civ 6 on my computer. So I don't have it on my computer yet. But and it has cross save with. Do you have it on Switch?
I do.
Dude, cross saves with the Switch. Pretty dope.
That's buck wild. I will say that I bought Civ and a bunch of the expansions, not all of them, but some of them on Epic, and it crashes, and it's like,
ooh.
Yeah, so like having it on Steam does sound nicer. And then XCOM, I love that style of game. So like, and I know XCOM's like the OG slash.
Like tactical games? You like tactical games? I didn't know you're a tactical game person.
Kind of, man. It's just like I texted you today about how like I wish Fire Emblem wasn't about anime nonsense where teachers slash students date each other, because that's just creepy as fuck for a teacher. But like, because I love that like chess type vibe. So like XCOM, those tacticals, like the Mario Rabbids games actually kind of lit. There's the Banner Saga games. Those are kind of lit. So I like that whole like chess grid, like each piece turn-based stuff. I think that stuff's fire. So like when I see the gameplay, I'm always like, that looks so cool. And then they bump into all the other stuff, dating sim stuff, and I'm like, Japanese concept.
Yeah, I saw the new Rabbids do that. They're moving it to more like an open system. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure how that's going to work. It kind of defeats the purpose of the whole tactical, but
paid as much attention. But I'm sure it'll still be fun, dude. Good team behind that.
Dude, if you're into that tactical shit, you gotta play Empire of Sin, bro. Come on, some gangsters.
It's like
Let's go.
management game more than a tactical, isn't it?
It's like both. It's a mesh of both, yeah. So the combat's all tactical and everything, and then yes, you are like managing your little empire, but there's a lot of combat. Well, word, dude. Congrats to you guys, and we're gonna take up we're gonna do like an hour on your guest appearance on your podcast.
Hell yeah, brothers. But shouts out to the babies. Shouts out to rapping my lines from a prison phone.
Congratulations, dude. Congratulations to you and the fan. That's so cool. And we'll get you back next month to talk about a little Portal 1 and 2. Sorry, Tyler.
Yeah. Hey, Tyler, I will admit this is my last anecdote before I ramble on too far, which is that I definitely drag. Like, I do this for all of the games Alex selects. I'm such a bad partner. I'm always like, I don't want to play this game. And then I, like, force myself to, and I have a good time. It's like half the game you pick. I do the same routine. So Portal, I definitely avoided Portal as long as I can because I suck at puzzles and I don't like puzzles. I played so much of Portal in one day that I had weird dreams about jumping through portals and figuring out puzzles, and I couldn't sleep, and I was like, God damn. So it's a fun
Portal
game.
Dream. It is cool, man. It's,
Portal, good time. But happy birthday, Uncle Alex.
Hey, thanks, bro.
Yeah. Happy.